Good afternoon to everyone. So, I was with you, political science students of class 11th. I was with you with the topic of freedom, in which I told you about Swaraj. Again, recapitulating with you, Swaraj means that Swaraj apna Raj, right? अपने ऊपर खुद राज करना. So this was information about Swaraj, and इनमें Swa plus Raj. मतलब Swa means खुद, self, Raj means rule, which I told you yesterday. Now today my topic is about the constraints, the sources of constraints. I told you yesterday that constraints are also very much important. The sources of constraints. Restrictions on the freedom of individual may come from domination of external controls. आपके ऊपर restriction जब आती हैं, आप अपने ऊपर भी restriction डाल सकते हो, आपके ऊपर दूसरे लोग भी restriction डालते हैं. External forces, बाहर के forces, external forces may dominate your external control. Such restrictions may be imposed by force, or they may be imposed by the government through laws, which embody the power of the rulers over the people and which may have backing of force. This was the form of constraint represented by colonial rulers over their subject or by system of apartheid in South Africa. So, South Africa में क्या था? उनके ऊपर रेस्ट्रेन्स करते थे, उनके ऊपर कंट्रोल करते थे. कौन करते थे? व्हाइट गवर्नमेंट करती थी. नाउ लिस्ट, आई थिंक आप अपार्थाइड के बारे में पढ़ चुके हो 9th या 10th के अंदर. आप अपार्थाइड के बारे में इस बुक में भी पढ़ चुके हो, बिफोर मिस आंग सान सूची. आपको पता आंग सान सूची को दोबारा 4 years उसको दोबारा जेल में डाल दिया गया. 4 साल के दोबारा जेल में डाल दिया गया, हाउस अरेस्ट कर दिया गया. राइट. सो साउथ अफ्रीका में क्या था? नेल्सन मंडेला थे. वो किसके what he was doing? He was fighting for the rights of the blacks and blacks, and he wants that there should be government of democratic setup. So what they do, what the Botha government, white government was doing, they were controlling the black people with a lot of constraints. That is, we call it apartheid. What do you mean by apartheid? Apartheid means racial discrimination. Racial discrimination means apartheid. Right? So in South Africa, some form of government may be inevitable, but if the government is a democratic one, the members of a state could retain some control over the rulers. यदि वो democratic government है, तो लोग भी अपनी गवर्नमेंट को कंट्रोल में रखते हैं. कंट्रोल, constraints, limitation, one and the same thing, one and the same synonyms of the word constraints. That's why democratic government is considered to be an important means of protecting the freedom of people. So what is a democratic government is? Democratic government is considered to be an important means of protecting the freedom of people. लोगों की फ्रीडम को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए डेमोक्रेटिक गवर्नमेंट अपना काम करती है. लोगों के फ्रीडम को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए, राइट, लोगों के फ्रीडम को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए the democratic government does it works, right? Now, but constraints on freedom can also result from social inequality of the kind implicit in the caste system. Caste system के अंदर भी inequality है, control है. or which result from extreme economic inequality in a society. The quotation from Subhash Chandra Bose on freedom draws attention to the need for the country to work for the remove such constraints. Some constraints are positive. I told you earlier also, some constraints are positive, some constraints are negative. Negative constraint as well as positive constraint. But what Subhash Chandra Bose says that we should avoid every type of negative constraints. So the quotation from Subhash Chandra Bose on freedom draws attention to the need for the country to work to remove such constraints. Now, I'm telling you about the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, some aspect on freedom. I quote, sorry, if we are to bring about a revolution of ideas, we have first to hold up before us an ideal which will galvanize our whole life. That ideal is freedom. But freedom is a word which has varied connotations and even in our country also. Connotation means implications. इसके फ्रीडम के कई वैलिड इम्प्लीकेशंस हैं. सबसे पहले तो फ्रीडम आप कैसे लोगे. फ्रीडम के आने के बाद क्या एवरीथिंग विल बी गुड, एवरीथिंग सिनेरियो विल बी नाइस? नो. आप देखिए आफ्टर द फ्रीडम व्हाट हैपेंड. 1947 के बाद क्या हुआ था? पाकिस्तान बना था एंड देयर वाज अ सिविल वॉर बिटवीन हिंदूज एंड मुस्लिम्स. So after freedom also, the bed is not bed is not very cozy. It's not easy path, right? So what happened? That ideal of freedom, but freedom is a word which has varied implications and vibrations, and even in our country, the conception of freedom has undergone a process of evolution. बहुत सारी चेंजेस आती रही हैं हमारे कंट्रीज में भी फ्रीडम के नाम पर, right? So by freedom I mean all round freedom. What Mr. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose said, that freedom means all round freedom. आपको रहने की आजादी, आपके अधिकारों की आजादी, राइट? आपको घूमने की आजादी, सबसे बड़ी बात कि आपको अपने नेता को चुनने की आजादी, द आजादी ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन. Freedom of expression is required everywhere. Freedom for the individual as well as for the society. इंडिविजुअल एंड सोसाइटी, आपके लिए भी आजादी होनी चाहिए, और पर्टिकुलर सिर्फ आपके लिए नहीं, पर्टिकुलर नॉट फॉर वन कास्ट और वन क्रीड और वन जनरेशन, इट शुड बी फॉर द होल सोसाइटी. फ्रीडम फॉर द ऑल सच as well as for the poor, freedom for men as well as for women, freedom for children, freedom for all individuals and for all classes and all for citizens. Equal freedom होना चाहिए, सबके लिए बराबर होना चाहिए. For example, we have got universal adult franchise. Universal adult franchise. What do you mean by universal adult franchise? It means when you are 18 years of age, just give me a few seconds. Yeah. Age. Hello. When you are 18 years of age, you are free. You are free to choose your own government. You're free to choose your own government. So this is a right to you. He said, hello. He said, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose said that freedom for all, freedom for men as well as for women, freedom for all individuals and for all classes. This freedom implies not only emancipation from the political bondage, but also equal distribution of wealth, abolition of caste barriers and social inequalities, and such destruction of communalism and religious intolerance. So there should be no constraints on the freedom. There should be freedom implies not only emancipation, and there should be this communalism should be destructed. Communalism should be destructed. Right. Abolition of caste barriers and social inequalities and destruction of communalism and religious intolerance. This is an ideal which may appear utopian. And what is the meaning of utopian? What is the meaning of utopian? A truth which is very truthful, but it cannot be in real sense. It cannot be in real sense. That is utopian. So utopian to hard-headed men and women, but this ideal alone can appease to hunger in the soul. आपको सिर्फ आजादी आपकी आत्मा को शांति दे सकती है. आपकी आजादी आपकी आत्मा को शांति दे सकती है. आजादी हर एक रुकावट से, आजादी सबके लिए, maybe he or maybe she. Azadi, you can choose your own government. Azadi, you can express yourself, maybe against the government, but in a decent way. Right? So that is called given by Subhash Chandra Bose. Again, I repeat that could only your azadi could appease the hunger of your soul. So this was Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose on the topic of freedom. Next, why do we need constraints? हमें constraints क्यों चाहिए? Why do we need constraints? We cannot live in a world where there are no constraints. Can you live where everything is acceptable? जहां पे किसी तरह की कोई बंदिश ना हो? When there is no rukawat for anyone, no rule and regulation. Why? What do you mean by rule and regulation? Rule and regulation means when somebody is controlling you. When someone is controlling you. What is the controlling part? Your rule and regulation, laws, कानून, ये सब आपको रोकते हैं. क्या करने से रोकते हैं? गलत काम करने से रोकते हैं. So you cannot steal something from anyone's purse or anyone's wallet. आप किसी के wallet से चोरी नहीं कर सकते. This is not acceptable. So you are living in a society, right? So in the society there are also do's and don'ts. In society also there are a lot of do's and don'ts. आप ये काम कर सकते हो society में, आप ये काम नहीं कर सकते society. Right. So we cannot live in a world where there are no constraints or restriction. We need some constraints or else society would descend into chaos. And some constraint or less society would descend into chaos. यदि कोई constraints नहीं है ना, so what will happen? The society will plunge into chaos. सोसाइटी के अंदर एक अराजकता छा जाएगी. That will be in chaos. There will be no rule and regulation. Everyone is doing whatever he wants to do. So the people will, let me tell you one thing, they will sometime it will be one person is killing another one because he don't like him and no rule and regulations are there. So it will be in chaos. Differences may exist in democracy. Differences to exist करती हैं between people regarding their ideas and opinions. Regarding their ideas and opinions, differences are there. They may have conflicting ambitions. Conflicting ambitions. आपकी सोच कुछ और होगी. In democracy, there are two type of. So, in democracy, there are two groups. Basically, one is a ruling group and one is a opposition group. Whatever the ruling group is doing, opposition group is pulling the legs of ruling party. Sometimes this constraints, we call it cockroach mentality. Cockroach mentality. जब हम ना हर वक्त एक दूसरे की टांगों को खींचने की होड़ में लगे रहते हैं. It happens in democratic setup. Everywhere, maybe 19% somewhere is a 20%, somewhere is a 100%, but this concept is there. So there are numerous reasons why disagreements may develop. Numerous reasons could be there. Even differences are in our family also. There are numerous reasons why disagreements may develop in a society, which may express themselves through open conflict. Right? So we see people around us ready to fight for all kinds of reasons, ranging from serious to the trivial. कभी हम छोटी छोटी बातों के लिए भी लड़ पड़ते हैं. कोई जरूरी नहीं है लड़ना. But we fight because we hurt, someone is hurting your ego. ईगो को जब आप कोई हर्ट करता है ना, तो वो बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क लग जाता है आपके ऊपर और किसी के ऊपर भी. Right? Maybe a small, very small thing. Rage means gussa. While driving on the roads, it's very common. Right? So rage while driving on the roads, fighting over parking spaces, quarrels over housing or land, disagreements regarding whether particular film should be screened or not. Particular film should be screened or not. एक मूवी आई थी किस्सा कुर्सी का. राइट? एक मूवी आई थी आंधी, बैन कर दी गई. Why no? Because आंधी was depicting Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Mrs. Indira Gandhi को लेकर वो बनाई गई थी. किस्सा कुर्सी का, the politicians किस्सा कुर्सी का, they banned this movie. So particular film should be screened or not. All these other issues can lead to conflict and violence. Can lead to conflict and violence, perhaps even loss of life. Perhaps even loss of life. Therefore, every society needs some mechanism to control violence. Every society needs some mechanism. Society में mechanism की बहुत जरूरत है. Mechanism in the society requires, and positive mechanism, let me tell you one thing. It is positive mechanism कि आप लोगों को control कैसे कर सकेंगे. Look, now in India, within few months, UP and other many good states, other big one, UP is one of the biggest states in India, and there's an election over there. Now, police is out, and they are getting orders day by day. Okay, election commission hoga, and a lot of things will be happen. Let me tell you one thing. In during elections, criminalization is also there in India. How to control these criminals? And it is written, perhaps sometime even loss of life is also there. Therefore, every society needs some mechanism to control violence and settle the disputes. जब तक आपके डिस्प्यूट सॉल्व नहीं हो जाते, तब तक प्रॉब्लम कंटिन्यूस. डिस्प्यूट को सॉल्व होना बहुत जरूरी है. एंड हाउ कैन वी सॉल्व डिस्प्यूट? व्हाइल कंट्रोलिंग आवरसेल्फ. सेल्फ कंस्ट्रेंट्स भी बहुत जरूरी है. सेल्फ कंस्ट्रेंट्स and so long as we are able to respect each other's views and do not attempt to impose our views on others. How can we continue with this? We should not impose our views on other people. Impose our views. हमें अपनी views को दूसरों के ऊपर impose नहीं करना है. Whenever you are going to do this, imposing your views, imposing, I said, you can tell your ideas, you can tell your views, you can have the suggestion regarding your views from the others, but you cannot impose your views on them. Whenever you are doing it, you are inviting problem, right? So long as we are able to respect each other's views and do not attempt to impose our views on others, we may be able to live freely and with minimum constraints. तो हमें क्या है कि हम आराम से दुनिया में रह सकते हैं. Disturbances. Ideally, in a society, we should be able to hold our views. बार बार ये देखो, ये बहुत बड़ा चैप्टर हो गया. We have to hold our views. मैं जो आपको समझा रहा हूँ ना, it is for your daily life also. अपने से पढ़ना ही नहीं है. You have to imply it on your daily life. Don't put your views on others if you want to avoid any type of fighting. Do not expect too much from your others. Do not expect too much from the society. Right? Always be in control. Your actions should be under control. Ideally, in a society, we should be able to hold our views, develop our own rules for living, and pursue our choices. We should develop our living. पैसे से ही सब कुछ डेवलप नहीं हो जाता है. Your thoughts should be positive. Your constraints should be positive. Right. So आज हमने क्या किया? दो चीजें बहुत बड़ी की. We got through about the sources of constraints, and in which we said domination of external control. These are the sources of extreme domination of external control. Such restriction may be imposed by force or they may be imposed by the government. जब domination का मतलब होता है, I am revising it now. डोमिनेशन का मतलब होता है जब आप किसी को डोमिनेट करते हो या कोई आपको डोमिनेट करता है. या तो वो गवर्नमेंट को डोमिनेट करता है, या कंट्री को डोमिनेट करता है, या सोसाइटी को डोमिनेट करता है, किसी से भी डोमिनेट करता है. डोमिनेशन मीन कंट्रोल. कंट्रोल मीन्स constraints. There are two type of constraint, positive also, negative also. Then we thought about, gone through about Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and on his freedom. नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस क्या कहते थे फ्रीडम के लिए? यू शुड बी फ्री टू चूज योर ओन गवर्नमेंट. यू शुड बी फ्री टू चूज योर ओन पीपल. Right? You should be free to move from one place to another place. You can express yourself. It means So this was given call given by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, in which he's told about distribution of wealth, abolition of caste system and barriers. Right. Then we started about why do we need constraints. Right. In constraints, I told you कि हमें constraints क्यों चाहिए और ये living constraints है, constraints are for better being for the life and all and the society. So long as we are able to respect each other's views, we should, and we are not imposing our views on others. We are living in a peaceful society. So here I come, I close my chapter today. Rest of next video. Till then, take care and have a nice time. Thank you.